Okay, something has happened, sort of, so it's time for another video. Today the star is, I guess I'll call it the red brick orchid. This is kind of my experimental orchid. It's became my experimental orchid. Um, can roots grow on the red brick? Because we know they can grow on typical gray brick. And the other parts, this is like two or three experiments in one. Very scientific, right? Yeah, not so much, huh? But it is. It's like two or three experiments in one. Can it grow on this brick? Can it grow with just tap water at room temperature? Could be called the other experiment, or one of the other experiments. So that's kind of what happened here. Well, really is what happened is it was doing just fine like everybody else. That one, that one. I got a couple around here behind me. Everybody was doing fine. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Had to count. So all 6 of them were doing fine. This one had started a leaf about the time I put it on the brick. And really, I contribute that to whatever it had before I got it. So it grew that big, more or less, and stopped. Okay, so just tap water didn't seem to be helping it too much. Might have been the time of year, but I think that just going on the diet of tap water, yeah, it was alive, and I'm sure it was growing, slowly but growing. It was doing okay. Then my heater malfunctioned. So I can't trust the heater no more, right? So it was no longer trusted to run when I'm not around. Allowing this trailer, mobile home, I guess would be the oldest term for it, allowed it to get quite cold. It was getting all the way down to about 50 degrees before I got home in the evening. 50 degrees. Now, if you're Fahrenheit illiterate, or just live, well, I guess it would be because you live someplace else in the world that's not the United States, that equates to 10 Celsius. Whatever you call it, 10 Celsius, 15 Fahrenheit, that is really cold for orchids by anybody's standards, including my own. If I had a choice, I would not let them get below 60. I think that's right. It's been a while. But at 60, a blooming orchid will start dropping its blooms. This is my own experience, that at 60 they will drop their blooms almost as fast as they open. They will open, but they will drop in like 2 or 3 days. It's been my experience with that one over there. And that one, if I haven't got my Phalaenopsis mixed up. They both dropped their blooms very quickly after they opened, and I figured that it was because the place had gotten down to 60. So that's enough for me. I don't want my orchids going below 60. Well, lately they have been. They've been going down to 50, and Well, I'm sure that started the first night things got cold. But this one's doing okay, that one's doing okay. This one is practically thriving, but they're not uh, growing their spikes this year. This is kind of the time of year that I would be expecting spikes because of the drop in temperature, but they're not starting spikes. And if they stay in these conditions, I don't think they will start until like summertime when we get back up towards 60. Then they might start spikes, and if it goes up to like 70, they might be happy. But I kind of think they should have spikes right now from their normal behavior, and they don't. I think it's because the temperature has dropped. So, why is this one dying back? I mean, its roots ain't as good as they used to be. It's dropped several leaves. Why is it not doing as well as my other 5? Well, the bucket with just tap water, not allowed to age, so it's basically getting ammonia, maybe a little nitrites, but it's not even getting nitrates, I don't think, because it gets changed out too much. And there's no air. I mean, it gets a little bit of air when the water gets refreshed, but then there's nothing aerating that bucket. It's just room temperature tap water. And right now the room temperature has been dropping down. Right now, I'm going to look at my thermometer. Right now it's a little below 60. So somewhere between like 10 and 15 on the Celsius side. That's not warm enough to be happy. It's not 50 tonight, but it's, it's still below 60. So that water is a little under 60 because it's got no aeration, none of the extra feed that I put in. Marine aquarium salt is my feed. So no aeration, no feed, and no heat. The water, along with the temp being too cold, is what I think is killing this orchid. So in an attempt to save it, I'm going to allow it to have the feed and the heat of the tank. Now that means that it's going to be submerged because bricks sink. So I'm going to submerge it for probably no 24 hours, maybe an hour or so. Take it out, stand it on its head so that water doesn't collect in the crown, and let it drip. And then it can, I guess, sit back at its home, which is just on top of the bucket. And if these roots can sustain it, or it can manage to sprout new roots like everybody else is doing, it might be okay. 9 minutes, okay. I'm sorry, I had to check. The time is in the white of the background, so I couldn't see it. I had to get, some leaves in there or something to make sure I was recording. But yeah, that's what I think has happened. The environment has been allowed to get too cold, and with the unheated water, which right now is a little below 60, and I assume that it got pretty close to 50 on those cold nights where I was getting a temperature reading of 50. Cold environment, cold water, rip Mr. Orchid. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, assuming that there's nothing wrong with the color in the brick, that it's all the lack of nutrients in the water, I'm going to go ahead and stand it in the aquarium. I'm thinking about, I think I will actually. Scratch that. There's a brick down there in the aquarium. So anything that would have harmed the other orchids has leached out of it, whatever. I think I'm going to put it on that other brick. And it's still going to end up being completely submerged. And my hand's going to get wet every time I water this thing. But we will see. But then how am I going to stand it upside down? I'm going to have to think about it. Because I put it on that little brick and I'm not going to be able to stand it upside down. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. Okay, yeah. I think I know how this is going to work. Okay, so, yeah, that's the plan. We will see if we can save this orchid. Like I say, everybody else is doing okay. This one, well, that's that one. The keiki is, well, let's say thriving if I don't drop everybody on its head. Keiki is thriving. There's the keiki. I've neglected topping off the tank because of the cold issue. I'm going to have to top it off, I guess, here pretty soon. But the keiki is doing well. This one is doing well. This one's doing well. This big old behemoth just came out of the water, so it's all wet. It is standing basically on its head. It is doing well. Everybody is doing respectably well. This one's still showing a lot of wilt on the leaves. More so than you can see in the camera, I will be honest. Its leaves didn't really recover like this one here. But they didn't continue to die either. They just still look like they're dying of thirst. Even though they're not. But it's what it looks like. So, yeah. We're trying to save another one. And, we'll see how it goes. I think we are going to give up on the red brick experiment. Not because it's necessarily over or I've gotten impatient, but because if it is causing even a slight problem, I don't want that to go through with everybody else. Not just the orchids get watered by this fish tank. All of my houseplants get water from the fish tank. And I've got Dracaena, otherwise known as Lucky Bamboo. I've got these things, like Burl's Tail or something like that. Honestly, I don't remember. I've got Purple Passion. Everybody gets watered with it. So I don't want to cause problems with anybody because of an experiment I started. So, yeah. That is what it is. And I do believe it's not so much the lack of nutrients in my tap water, but the fact that the tap water has been allowed to get too cold because I don't have any source of heat in the bucket. Could also be the lack of air. And I'm sure the lack of all these things coming from the aquarium salt is helping everybody else. But yeah, that's how I'm going to try to save this one, is I'm going to forego the experiment of the brick and of the water to save its life at this point. Now, it's just a yellow Phalaenopsis, which is why it was chosen rather than, well, say this one, which I've literally had all of its life. I'm not going to experiment with that, aside from accidental experiments. This one is my intentional experiment plant, and I don't want to take an experiment so far that it kills it, although that might be exactly what I've just done. We will see. So, if there's a quick update, I'll give you a quick video. If it takes longer and there's nothing really happening, then I guess we will have a paused period again. But either way, I will make a video. If it dies, I'll make a video. If it improves, I'll make a video. Kind of like this one. It improved. Made quite a few videos because it improved rapidly. Let's hope that this one will do the same. Okay, with that, I will let you go, and at some point, it looks like this one is going to change bricks. Or maybe come off of its brick entirely like everybody else. Hey, now that might be something. Okay. You will find out, I guess, in the next video what I decide to do, because obviously my mind is scattered at the moment, to say the least. Okay, talk to you next time.